letter.
It's a letter of introduction to my aunt from that woman who rented Bellingham Hall the summer before last.
My eldest sister, the one that got married, worked for them. Very nice they were, she said.
What does he look like?
I never met him.
Oh, no, the young man who brought this letter of introduction.
Oh, I thought you meant the man my sister married. But if it's the person waiting in the hall, he's nice enough. It looks as if he might be an Oxford man, except for his tie.
Well, I'll try and entertain him until my aunt is ready. You better take this letter of introduction to her.
Yes, miss.
But show the young man in first.
Yes, miss. Mr. Grandpa Nuttall.
How nice to meet you, Mr. Nuttall. My name is Vera Stapleton. My aunt will be down presently. In the meantime, you must try to put up with me.
It's most kind of you to receive me.
We're delighted to have you called. We don't get many visitors here in the country.
My sister recommended Hampton Heath as a wonderful, quiet spot. She and her husband had the most enjoyable season here.
Won't you sit down?
Thank you.
Everyone will be delighted to meet you. It's lovely here, but it does get a bit dull sometimes.
Dullness. That's just what the doctor ordered.
You've been ill?
Oh, yes. That's why I'm here.
Was it anything special?
The pressures of academic life. I was working a little too hard. I'm afraid it was rather abstruse.
What effect did it have?
Well, I became quite nervous. Easily upset, you know.
And so your doctor recommended Hampton Heath?
Well, not specifically.
But something like it.
Certainly. He suggested I find a quiet, rural place where nothing ever happens.
I see. And so your sister immediately thought about us.
Well, not exactly.
But she did suggest that you come down here?
Certainly. She said Hampton Heath was a wonderful, quiet spot filled with people who were interested in hunting and dogs and horses and things of that sort.
You'll have quiet and a lot of fun, too. There's simply no end of things to do. Really, there are lots of ways of entertaining yourself.
Entertaining oneself. The very thing my doctor told me. Bracing strolls in the country air. Early to bed. Early to rise.
Well, lots of us prefer to hunt instead of just ambling about.
You hunt?
A little. I like to ride, but my mare's in full. I can hardly wait to see what sort of coat she has. I'm hoping for a chestnut with Contessa. My mare is more of a bay herself.
It will be a regular Irish sweepstake winner, no doubt. Riding isn't for me.
The garden is quite lovely this time of year. Roses do beautifully in this cool weather, as if they were having one last fling before winter. Would you like to see the garden?
Well, digging in the ground and all that. Well, my doctor was right. I'll get plenty of quiet out here. Of course, I'd love to see your garden someday. Perhaps we had best wait until your aunt...
Of course.
I suppose there's a village fair that's pretty exciting.
You're making fun of us.
I wouldn't think of it.
There aren't many village fairs anymore.
Just a bit out of my milieu. I saw a pub, so I know I can at least get a glass of something if I get cold in the night.
It closes at 10:30.
Can't be serious.
Suppose it all seems impossibly rustic after the excitement of London and the West End.
A little of that was involved.
A little what?
Well, with so many activities, I got quite overtired.
Theatre, I suppose. The opera. I envy you.
I don't go very often except to musicals, but we had a regular table at the New Way nightclub.
We?
Just a group of friends.
Must be pretty exciting for a group to go out together like that.
Mostly it is, unless something unpleasant comes up.
What sort of things?
Just a little spot of trouble now and then.
Oh,
Well, sometimes something occurs that sort of puts a damper on things, like when Cecily Hampton and Peter Smithers were in an auto accident, and Cecily's husband sued her for divorce, but one has to expect that sort of thing. Though I'm dashed if I could see how Peter could have risked his new Morgan Fall going around the wrong side of the lorry. Perhaps Cecily encouraged him.
I can see all that must be very exciting. The Hunt Ball comes up next month. We'll see you don't miss that. It really is the most colorful event in the fall.
Well, of course, I don't know what my health will be by then. One hopes for the best, but
Certainly.
with so many friends of my sister to call on, I don't want to get involved with anyone in particular.
Oh, I wasn't suggesting anything in particular. I'll be there with Henry Hartford. He's got a bay Irish hunter.
Is this your first dance?
No, I've been going for years and years. It certainly was kind of your sister to give you this letter of introduction. Such an opportunity for us all to meet someone from the outside world.
She's always thinking of others. She said people hereabouts did so much for her, she really felt quite indebted to them. She gave me the letters and urged me to present them. Really, she's the soul of kindness.
Then, actually, you know practically nothing about my aunt.
Besides her name and address, nothing except the note that my sister spoke very highly of the whole family.
Has she been in touch with her recently?
No, she explained that they had never corresponded.
I suppose it was my aunt's fault because of the tragedy.
A tragedy? I'm terribly sorry to hear this.
Your sister mentioned it to you, of course?
Never a word.
Then it would have been since her time.
I'm sure she wouldn't have wanted me to intrude on you at a time of difficulty.
Oh, no, it happened last year.
Well, I suppose even the quietest of places have their little upsets.
You may wonder why she keeps the window open on an October afternoon.
It is quite warm for this time of year.
It's Aunt. She insists that it be kept the same way.
What way?
The way it was last year. You see, this is the anniversary.
The anniversary of what?
Tragedy.
I'm terribly sorry to hear this.
Perhaps I should prepare you for meeting her.
Please do.
Out through that window, 1 year ago to this very day, her husband, her son, and her dog went off for a day's shooting. They never came back. In crossing the moor to their favorite snipe shooting ground, all three were engulfed in a treacherous piece of bog. It was a dreadful wet summer, you know, and places that were safe in other years gave way suddenly, without warning. Their bodies were never recovered. That was the dreadful part of it. Poor Aunt always thinks they'll come back in one day, walking through that window just as they used to. That's why it's kept open every evening till it's quite dusk.
Your poor aunt.
She often told me how they went out. Ronnie, her husband, was singing Bertie, Bertie, why you bound to tease her because it got on her nerves.
A most extraordinary story.
Of course, we tried to humor her.
Had she been to London to see anyone? I mean, they do wonderful things nowadays.
In every other way, she's perfectly all right.
No nervousness or anything?
Not a bit. When she comes in, she'll act perfectly natural. She'll probably even offer you tea.
Are you sure I should stay?
Of course. Aunt would be very disappointed. And besides, it might help you get her mind off of things.
Well, if you think it best.
I do. Unless it makes you nervous.
Oh, no, of course not. I'm glad to do my bit to help.
You'll have no slightest trouble conversing with her. But if you watch, you'll notice she keeps looking out the window.
You don't find it at all a bit unnerving?
A little. Sometimes, on the wind that comes off of the moors, I think I can hear the voice of my uncle singing. Do you believe in ghosts, Mr. Neville?
No, of course not. I wouldn't believe...
Listen. Do you hear that? Sometimes on quiet evenings like this, I get the creepy feeling they all will walk in through that window.
Oh, Mr. Nuzzle, how nice! I'm loving your sister and husband. I hope he has been amusing you. I'm Mrs. Appleton.
She's been very interesting.
Well, Maria's bringing tea. I do hope you'll join me.
I would be delighted, Mrs. Appleton.
There, dear. Will you join us?
Thank you, Auntie, but maybe excuse to get my shawl. It's getting quite brisk.
By all means. Oh, please sit down. I hope you don't mind the open window. My husband and son are up for a day's shooting, and they always come back in this way. I had to start in March today, so we could find us my poor garments. So like you menfolk, isn't it? Oh, Maria, bring the tray right here. That's a good girl. Looks absolutely delicious.
Thank you, Mom.
Do you like your tea strong?
Very, please, just a touch of hot water.
Do you use lemon or cream and sugar?
Sugar and cream, please.
So much more helpful that way.
As a matter of fact, I'm down here for my health.
Well, this is just the place. We have some of the best hunting in this part of England. Of course, the birds have been scarce, but the prospects for duck systems are excellent. You do hunt.
No, I'm afraid my doctor thinks it would be too exciting.
If your doctor will let you hunt, then perhaps you should find another doctor. Unless there's some physical problem.
Just nerves. After taking a degree at Cambridge, I took the civil service exams, but I was so overtired from lack of sleep that after I took the exams to prove that I would be competent, I couldn't take the position they offered.
How sad.
Oh, I've still got the job. Civil service, you know. I'm on an initial leave of absence.
Well, this is just the place. Really, there doesn't think anything happens in these parts. Oh, do tell me, are your sister and her husband well? We enjoyed seeing them so much and hope they'd visit again.
They're both quite well, thank you.
Really? The evening has also passed this time of year. It's getting quite dark.
Yes, quite.
Are you sure you're not chilly? Though the window doesn't make you nervous?
No, really, I'm quite all right.
Oh, goodness, Maria. Perhaps you'll partially close the window. Mr. Nuttall seems a bit chilly.
Certainly, Mom.
No, really, the quiet atmosphere here, the peace.
Oh, Maria, please, only partially close the window. I want to hear them when they come in. Do go on.
It's just what the doctor ordered.
I hope I'm not too late for tea.
Of course not, dear. It's still quite hot. You should talk about Mr. Nuttall's health. He's running for a rescue now.
Yes, he told me. Would you like me to turn the light on, Auntie? It's quite spooky in here.
By all means, Vera.
Do you like the window shut? The wind is howling awfully.
Of course not, Vera. What are you and Maria thinking of?
Of course, Auntie. Sorry. Good heavens! Look!
Maria, step to the window and see.
Yes, Mom. It's two men and a dog. I can't tell who it is.
How are they dressed?
They're too far away.
I suppose it's some neighbors.
I doubt that, Vera. After all, it's high time that your uncle and cousin were coming home.
It does look like Mrs. Sappleton and young Master Sappleton and the dog. But surely, Mom, I can't tell what with the evening and the mist coming on so ghostly.
Yes, that must be them at last. Bring 2 more cups. They'll want tea.
Yes, Mom.
You think it might be your husband and son?
Certainly. I've been waiting for them for a long time now.
Your niece explained all about it.
I don't think they'll be wanting tea.
What did she mean by that?
Oh, generally my husband wants something a little stronger than tea, and my son is only interested in food. How do you create a real appetite?
I've got to see for myself. My goodness, they are here.
Certainly.
Mr. Nuttall, you're pale.
No, I'm quite all right. It's...
You should remain calm, Mr. Nettle. Nothing exciting ever happens in the country.
There they are. Oh, my goodness. Oh!
Hello, my dears. Hope we're in time for tea.
We had smashed the time, but didn't really get anything.
Who was that fellow who bolted out the door as we came in?
What's extraordinary, man? Mr. Nuttall. He really didn't talk much of anything, except for his health. And then he bolted out here quite as if he'd seen a ghost. What extraordinary.
I expect it was the dog. He has a horror of dogs, especially hunting dogs.
Oh, why?
Well, he was once hunted into a cemetery on the banks of the Ganges River by a pack of pariah dogs, and he had to spend the night in a newly dug grave with the creature snarling and grinning and foaming just above him, enough to make anyone lose his nerve.
I'd say.
It's true. I'll tell you all about it. His companion wasn't as lucky. One day, when he and a friend were out walking,
Director Emily Dystra.